In this video, I'll be doing the part 2 of the Dark Crystal ReAction figures, and we'll be covering the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance figures that are based off the TV show off Netflix. And it's actually a prequel to the Dark Crystal movie. If you haven't watched it, it's really good. It's Jim Henson's children. I think Brian and Lisa Henson are the ones that are over it, and they really tried to stay true to the original vision that he had. And it's really worth the watch, especially if you like the Dark Crystal movie from the 80s. And I wasn't ever a really huge fan. I've always liked Jim Henson's stuff, like, Muppets and all that stuff. Just the comedy in it and everything. It was more like aimed towards more of an adult audience than Sesame Street or something. But Dark Crystal was kind of aimed at Star Wars fan demographics, I guess. The same people that would have been interested in Yoda and the Empire Strikes Back and stuff. But it didn't really hit that target the way it should have, I guess. Had they had these action figures back then, I think it would have been a little bit more successful. But going back and looking at it now, I have a whole new appreciation for it, because it's just so well done, and the story actually is the story's kind of deep for a younger audience. I think that's why it didn't really have such a popularity like Star Wars or something. But going back and watching it now as an adult, I've got a new appreciation, and especially the Netflix series, I think it's really well done. So I wish they would bring back at least for a second season and wrap it up, because I think they cut it because of budget. It was just such a high budget or something. I'm not really sure why they canceled it, but it was very popular as far as I know. And I don't know why they can't figure out a way to make the budget for a second season, because I think it would be worth it to them. But anyway, that's my message to Netflix. Make season 2. But anyway, these are the figures that came out. There's only 6 that came out. I have 2 of them open already, so I don't have the packaging. I have it somewhere, but I don't, at least the card backs, but I don't know where it is at the moment. But this is let's see if it's on the back here. Yeah, this is the Silk Spitter. We'll go ahead and look at it since it's open already. And these are more articulated than the ones that I did in part 1 that were based off the original movie. This guy, he turns right here, and his head actually has a ball joint head. It like tilts and turns. And then all the appendages, they bend at the body there. And they also have a hinge, so you can adjust them up and down or turn them. So they're pretty well articulated, especially this one. And this one also has joints up here. The front legs. The back legs don't bend right there. They only bend at the body. But the front ones, they bend at the, I guess what you would call the elbow also. So you can get them where they look like they should be as a spider type. It's not really a spider because it's only got 6 legs, but I guess it's technically an insect. And this one also turns at the midsection. So it has a lot of different ranges of motion and stuff, so you can pose him pretty good. And that one's called the Silk Spitter. And there's a spoiler I don't want to go into, but it ties into the Gartham later. That's all I'll say about it. The Gartham being in the original movies. The ones that would go bust through the walls and collect the Gelflings and stuff. Alright, and then this is Deet. And she is my wife's favorite Gelfling on the show. So there's a lot of Gelflings in the movie, I mean in the TV show, but they only did 2 of them, and I'm glad she was one of them because she was our favorite. And she bends at the knees. She also bends at the upper leg, but it doesn't really help a whole lot because that dress doesn't bend, so you can't really make her sit down or anything. That's the only bad thing about that, if that was a soft goods, but I don't think it would look as good if it was soft goods, so I'm happy with the way they did it. And she bends at the arms, or at the shoulders, and at the elbows. So, and her head also turns, but it's because of the hair, it kind of, I'll go ahead and take these wings off real quick. The wings do come off on her. It actually, the hair you can move enough to get it out of the way, so she's got pretty good range of motion with her head turning. Her hair's a little whiter than it should be. It was kind of blondish looking in the show, but that's the only thing. I would rather see that be a little bit blonder looking, but other than that, I think she looks good. And I believe, if I remember right, the wings are detached in the package, so they're just in there. But this is how she usually looks in the show most of the time, because their wings kind of come out when they need to use them. So, but she does have the wings. She has these little notches in the back there, and they just kind of snap in there. Let's snap those on real quick. Kind of have to press them in pretty hard right there at the base. Her hair kind of wants to pull them out a little bit because they're where they are. You got to angle them the right way to get them to go in. That's the other thing. But once you get them in, they stay in pretty good unless you turn her head. Okay, so there she is. And the good thing about her legs being able to bend is, like, if you want to put her in flight mode, they kind of look more like flying when her legs are bent just a little bit. So even though she can't bend at the, she has the articulation up there to bend at the pelvis, but even though she can't really do it because of the dress, it still looks good when you can have her look like she's flying or something, to bend the knees right there. So, and that's Deet. She's up here. There's a crease on that card right where she is. But let's see that. Okay, and the other ones I haven't opened yet, so we'll actually open these on camera. I'm just going to set her back here. Alright, and this is the Hunter. And he's the only Skesis they put out. And he's a heavy figure. I mean, just feeling of him in here. I'm going to get the Skesis from the... This is the Chamberlain Skesis. He's in the Netflix series, but he looks about the same as he does here. So, if you have the one from the movie, you kind of have another one you can use for the TV show line. And they're about the same in comparison. He's a little bigger and his head's bigger, but I believe it is in the show too. Because he was a pretty big one in the show, so. He was kind of like he was almost like the Predator or something of the Skesis. And he even has a mask sort of like that, and it is included in here, so I'm looking forward to seeing what he looks like with his mask on. He has a really thick bubble because he's so big. And he has a little weapons pack here. So he's got 2 different swords like that, and 2 smaller ones. And here's the picture of him on the back there. And we'll go ahead and show you these. That's Hup. He was the Podling from the show. And then there's another Aughra figure that's her when she was younger. And then there's, I think they call him Rian's how they say his name. And he's kind of like the main male Gelfling in the show. And all the cards look the same pretty much, except for the name being different. Kind of like the original ones we talked about. So, let's set this over here. And we will get him out here. And here's his mask. So, we'll put that on him here in a minute. He's pretty much the coolest Skesis in all the series and shows, I think. In my opinion. Alright. Set this over here out of the way. Alright, so let's see what all articulation he has. He has extra arms. I think they all the Skesis have extra arms, but I think they keep them hidden under their robes. So he's like more of an action Skesis, so he keeps his where he can use them when he's fighting and stuff. And these just rotate, I think. I don't think they have any other articulation. And the other arms move outwards, I believe. Yeah. Let's see if we can make them. Because of where the shoulders are and the top of this, it's kind of hard to make them move out. Okay, there we go. It might just need it loosened up a little bit. So they can go in and out, and then they rotate. You just have to kind of watch this part because it wants to hang on it when you move it back, but they do go forward and backwards. And he also bends at the elbows. I wonder if his mouth opens. Let's see. No, it doesn't. It looks like it could, but it doesn't. Okay, and then this arm probably needs loosened up. Let's see. Sometimes when you take them out, they're kind of stiff. So. Okay, so that one moves in and out and bends at the elbows. And then the feet, you can move the legs up and down at the pelvis, and the feet turn. I believe the hands probably turn, yeah. So he has a pretty good bit of articulation, and his head turns. It's like a ball joint head. So he can go up and down a little bit. And the tail doesn't move, it's fixed. So let's try putting his mask on him. I want to see what that looks like. Wonder how well it stays on. It doesn't really snap on, but It stays on well enough if he's in the upright position. So that looks about right for the show. He had that mask on. At one point it got broken, I think, so it was just kind of like a piece of a mask. But he's got all these different swords, so we'll put those in all his hands here. Like I said, he's pretty cool. Pretty bad, I guess, figure. Bad in a good way. Alright, and so there he is with all his swords. He's a pretty cool action figure too. Good likeness. And we'll put him by this other Skesis here just for comparison. They're similar in size, so they're good. I noticed the original series figures seem to be a little smaller scale than the new ones. Well, not necessarily. They're about this. I'd say they're pretty equal. The only one is Aughra. We'll look at her in a minute here. The Aughra from the original series, her head is a lot bigger. Other than that, they're all pretty much the same scale, I think. And this is Hup. This is the Podling, and he's sort of like Deet's protector. He has kind of like a crush on Deet in the show. Cards the same. And we'll open him up next. But yeah, if you have Netflix, check out that show. They're about 10 episodes. I think they're about an hour long each. So it takes about 10 hours to watch it all. But I'd watch the original movie first if you haven't seen it in a while. Just to kind of have a baseline. But you can watch it last. There's just some things in the show that kind of make a little bit more sense if you realize how the movie ends. I'll just say that. I don't want to give any spoilers, but just the connection between the Skesis and the Mystics. If you understand that, it makes the show a little bit easier to follow. But that's all I'll say. So, let's see. His head turns, and his arms move in and out, and rotate, and he bends at the elbows. Okay. And he bends at the pelvis and the knees. The knees I had to kind of loosen up for a minute there. They were kind of stiff. And he comes with both spoons. He starts out with a small spoon that's kind of broken, and that's taped together. So that's that one. And then he gets a bigger spoon later that's nicer. It'd been nice if these were painted. These are just one color, but I know this spoon was it was kind of multicolored. And that one was brown with a little white tape on it, sort of. So he thinks he's sort of like the Don Quixote of the show. He wants to be a knight, and he pretends the spoons are weapons and stuff. So, and I guess Deet's sort of his Dulcinea. If y'all are familiar with the Don Quixote story. Anyway, so there he is with his spoons. His hands don't turn, so they're in one position. You can't rotate them at the wrists. But other than that, he's got good articulation. There's the back side of him. The colors are nice. think it's a pretty figure. All right, and then we will open Rian. That's on the package there. And sometimes while watching Dark Crystal, it almost seemed like the Dark Crystal show, Age of Resistance, it almost becomes like Game of Thrones type storyline sometimes, but with puppets. It even has some of the Game of Thrones people that doing the voices and stuff, so that's pretty cool. Alright, so here is Rian. His head turns. He has a ball joint, so it can rotate up and down. His arms also move in and out and rotate, and he bends at the elbows. His wrists don't bend though, or turn. They don't turn. He has a cape, but it doesn't come off. It's glued on. And his legs move at the pelvis and the knees. And he comes with this little bottle of essence, which was, well, I don't give spoilers. This is his evidence. It's the one that is wise to the Skesis stealing people's essence. So, and he's trying to let everybody know about it. And then he has a sword. So that's Rian. And then we'll look at Aughra and compare her to the other one. I think Aughra is the only one they've done twice, other than the variants in the original where you got the Jinn, and then you got the Jinn on the Landstrider. But other than that, this is the only one they've actually put on a card twice or whatever. So these are the differences. You can see the one in the original, from the original movies, quite bigger than the one from the series. So I'd say out of all of them, if this one's probably more accurate proportions, even to the movie. This one looks really cool, but I think size-wise, scale-wise, I think this one's more accurate. So let's open her up. Yeah. It's almost time to get a new box cutter. This one's getting a little dull. Okay. Let's slide this off here. Alright, here's the back side. She's got a twisty tie, so undo that. She slides right out. And we have her walking stick. Alright, so here she is. And this one's a really good looking likeness. They make her look a little different in this TV show because of the, it's supposed to be a prequel, but I just don't believe her head grew that much in the 30 years or whatever it was in between. So I think this one's probably more accurate scale. This one's sort of like a little embellished, but I wouldn't mind seeing them do this one and just slightly smaller head. I think it's basically just that head's so big it looks like a bobblehead. So that's the comparisons there. The body's sort of about the same size. She's a little larger here in different areas, but she was older, so that part, it's not that far off from this one. But the head, I just don't think her head grew that big in size from the series to the movie. So I think her head was a little smaller in the show, but I don't think it was that much smaller. So okay, so let's look at her. She has this shawl thing, and it comes off, it looks like. Her arms go out, so you can slip that shawl thing off. And she turns at the waist there. This part is all one piece. It's all one big plastic piece. And she's kind of heavy just because of that. But she bends at the elbows and at the arms, go in and out and turn and rotate. And let's try to see if her head turns. I think it's the same issue as before. So I think they don't even have it where it can turn this time. Well, maybe. I guess technically it would. I think it's a ball joint even. But you can't really do anything with it because of the hair. I mean, it's kind of locked in place with everything. So they might as well just glued that on there. But other than that, that's a good looking figure too. And this shawl, it just kind of wraps around her and over her arms, so that's pretty nice. It's easy to take off and on, and it stays in place when you want it to. So there she is with her shawl, and put her walking stick in her hand. So there she is. Good looking figure. The likenesses on these are really great. I don't know if it's because they're based off puppets or what, but they're spot on. I wonder if they actually did molds of the actual puppets or something, or scans of the actual puppets. Because that is so... I don't know if you can see every little wrinkle and everything, but that's a lot of detail for a 3 3/4 inch figure. It's got a nice pattern on her shawl. It's painted on there. So that's pretty cool. So here's the two versions side by side. And we'll line them all up here. Just do a little lineup of the TV show figures. So see if we can get them to stand on their own. They stand on their own pretty good. Well, I'm going to put this one on the end. There we go. Put the big ones on the end there. So that is set that back here. That is the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance ReAction figure line. And there's 6 in total. So you have the Hunter, Aughra, Rian, Deet, who just fell over, Hup, and Silk Spitter. I think the other name for them is Arathrum, if I remember right. But they call them silk spitters. Alright, well, thanks for watching. Check out my other video on the ones in the back there from the original movie. And I think that should wrap up all the Dark Crystal stuff I have. So I don't know. They haven't come out with a huge amount of Dark Crystal merchandise over the years. I don't know what all they have come out with as far as toys. Probably more books and stuff than anything. There's several graphic novels and books and stuff that are kind of like a expanded universe material. So if you like the Dark Crystal, check those out. There's several different books and stuff. But other than that, I think this is about the only toys, like action figure toys, that's come out over all the years since the Dark Crystal movie. These are just falling over one by one. Okay, so thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and check back for my other content. I got some other reviews I'm doing this week. Bunch of different toys and action figures. So just check back and see if there's anything on the channel you're interested in. I just have a variety of different topics I work on. So, but it should be a little bit of something for everybody. So check the channel out and see what you want to watch, and subscribe and like it and comment on them. I really rely on the comments. I like the feedback. So this is a new channel, so I'm just trying to get it up and running lately, and it's only about a month old now. And so I appreciate any feedback. And thanks for watching.